trade tensions between the U.S. and Canada escalating once again. Both countries moved forward with new tariffs after trade talks collapsed. The U.S. imposed 50% tariffs on Canadian goods. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney says his country was attacked and has promised to respond dollar for dollar. Canada says its own retaliatory tariffs will take effect on September 8th. Let's go live now to CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang. So, Weijia, what happened here, and what's the White House endgame in this standoff with one of America's closest trading partners?
Well, the next question we have is what the U.S. is going to do in response to those retaliatory tariffs, because this really could escalate into a tit-for-tat situation that is ongoing, especially now that Canada has shown and said explicitly that they will not be bullied by the U.S. trade policies. And we asked this morning the trade official that is leading all of this, Ambassador Jamieson Greer, about what it's going to take to get negotiations back on track, because he said as of right now there are no talks scheduled between the U.S. and Canada to try to find a solution. And here's what he said. Ambassador, you said that talks are not on the books with Canada. Why not? And what has to happen for negotiations to continue?
Well, I think you saw the Canadians' remarks on Friday that they suspended talks. So that's, we respect that. I'm not going to. Again, they came to us a month ago and said we want to have negotiations. So we said okay. We don't have anything scheduled. I have the Mexicans coming in this week. I have the Mexican trade minister coming in Tuesday afternoon. They've been very constructive on the trade front. We've been able to resolve a lot of issues with them. They've been taking actions to protect their own market, to try to get a hold of transshipment, which is something that we're worried about. So we'll see what conversations look like with them this week.
And Greer also stressed that this is not a huge imprint on the U.S. economy and won't really drive up prices across the board. But there are, of course, things that will be impacted, and certainly U.S. companies and manufacturers that will be impacted that sell things to Canada. And so we'll be watching this closely. But again, as of right now, it doesn't seem like there is a solution here. As for your question, what the point is, it's unclear, because if it doesn't have that much of an impact, we know it does at least have a psychological impact on American consumers who, have some PTSD likely from the very word tariffs, because they do remember when prices went up when the Trump administration initially unleashed so many across the world. And so, the bottom line is it doesn't seem like Canada is going to back down, which is rare, we should say, for any country.
Yeah, and Weijia, let's talk about President Trump's economic D-Day with Iran. We're talking new sanctions, and they are expected in hours. What do we know so far about the Treasury Department's plans?
Well, we don't know much in terms of an official announcement, because they've really been trying to play up the suspense before announcing what the Treasury Secretary calls the toughest sanctions in history. And we do expect that they will be applied to other countries that do business with Iran, so secondary sanctions, to really try to isolate Iran from any kind of economic lifelines. But China, as one example, has already publicly opposed any of these secondary sanctions, calling them illegal and saying that they are not supported by international law. And so Besson is set to make that announcement in just a few hours, but Iran has already responded too, saying that if the economic war continues, they're not going to ship a drop of oil through the Strait of Hormuz or anywhere in the Persian Gulf, and said that any other country that participates in these American policies against Iran would be participating in an act of war. So harsh words from both sides, Mugo, and we'll see exactly what the details are at 2 p.m.
Okay, Weijia Jiang at the White House for us today. Thank you so much.